Good, don't make that face. Good evening, everybody. We're back at the Rico Nico headquarters. Yeah, it is we're back at the Rico Nico headquarters, aka the Nico headquarters, aka the Avengers Mansion. How you doing, Rico?
The Avengers Mansion. You're just sticking stuff together. That's whole X-Men
I,
right
I,
there.
to, I told you I needed more time for it, and you started it.
This has nothing to do with that.
So, speaking of jokes, speaking of jokes, jokes are something we use a lot in our society. Okay.
You laugh like a cartoon character.
I have like 5 different types of laugh.
Oh my God, you ain't lying.
So,
You.
what the hell was I saying?
Oh God, speaking about jokes.
Oh yeah, so speaking about jokes, jokes are something we use a lot, right?
Yeah,
So we use them sarcastically.
sarcasm, yeah.
You use them, with friends just to laugh at something. You use it to laugh at somebody. You use them to laugh at somebody with ill will as well, you know.
Okay.
So jokes are also a way for people to speak their mind.
Yeah.
When you make a joke, is when that's kind of like a backhanded compliment kind of joke kind of thing. There's all types of jokes. So I wanted to get your take on jokes, why they're important. Are they being used too much? Do we need them? Do we not need them? What's up with jokes?
Oh man, this is an interesting topic. Especially in the landscape of where we are right now in the world of sensitivity. The idea of it's not my intention to offend you, but I really want to offend you. That's my intention. The idea of joke being there's comedy, things that we can find amusing and or funny, and then there's jokes, things said intentionally to garner a emotional response of either laughter or usually to get you to think about something in a different way. Jokes are important to be able to laugh at things, whether they're morbid, whether they're horrible, black comedy, tasteless comedy. Some things are very biased, some things are very bigoted. That there's comedy that what we find funny that is not acceptable to everyone, but it is necessary because it does allow us to be able to dialogue, talk about things that we might not be able to talk to each other about them directly. I guess it's an indirect way to talk to one another about things with jokes. So.
Do you think that every time you tell a joke, there's at least a little bit of truth you mean by it?
I guess if you're telling a joke about real things. So in the context of whatever your joke is about, it must exist.
Like if I tell you, like if you're wearing like a blue polo, and I've never seen you wear a blue polo before, and I make a joke about your blue polo that even makes you laugh, but it's something negative, like, oh, you look like X, or you look like you don't, oh, shit, or you don't look good wearing that blue polo. I make a joke, I laugh, and you laugh, and do you think that there's always a little bit of truth to it? Like, I mean that you don't look good.
Do I think so?
In this one example, like
it could be perceived as such, like, man, that shirt, that was your first choice. You said it's jokingly, but I do think there's a little bit of truth in it. But I think that truth that's in it is basically to poke at you, to say, hey, I can see it a couple of different ways. That's your shirt. You're gonna wear it proudly, but it's a little small, bro. You're a little big for that shirt. And then
well, you can say that, which is technically a negative comment. Yeah, you're clearly stating that you don't agree with my decision to wear said shirt, but then maybe you don't mean to offend me.
Yeah, I can draw
Sorry, I just
immature
spit on you like real good.
I can just draw immature ridicule out of that because man,
you can say it many different ways.
Yeah, what are those? That implies that your shoes are ugly, right?
Yeah.
But there's some, $800, $900 Yeezys that are ugly as, oh my God. But it's all about perception. It's all about context. It's about those things.
The reason I bring up the jokes thing is that I hear many people say there's Like there's always some truth behind jokes. And with my sense of humor, it's I can make a joke about any damn thing. I'm not gonna really say the types of jokes I've made, but we won't get demonetized. We'll just get straight up blocked on YouTube forever.
Good enough.
So I'm not talking about the jokes. I'm saying the types of jokes. Like I made jokes like bad jokes. Like I joke about things I shouldn't at all.
So they were bad.
Horrible jokes.
So they were terrible jokes.
Yeah.
Terrible.
People laughed.
Oh, they did? Oh, I thought we were talking about because your jokes are bad.
No, my jokes. No, I mean jokes like you shouldn't joke about. Like you shouldn't joke about like dead people. No, like you shouldn't joke about.
Jokes are bad.
I don't want to say bad examples, but
yeah, they're bad.
It's like these things just come to my head and I just say it, and they're funny, but they're messed up.
Funny to who?
To everybody around me. Yeah. You laugh at my jokes all the time.
Am I laughing at your jokes?
Yeah. You laugh at my jokes all the time. Jokes? Anyways, so.
See,
I say
an example of me making and mocking you jokingly about you making.
And the thing is, when I make these jokes, they're jokes because it's something that came to my mind and I said it out loud. Okay. But I don't mean anything at all about them. Like I've made jokes to family members that I really care about. Like I've made jokes about ex-family members that I love and I would die for, but I roast the crap out of you about some very, very sensitive topics. Mm-hmm. But I don't mean anything by it at all. So, because obviously there's not any type of truth to it. It's just a scenario I'm making up to make something funny. So, from my personal perspective, I don't mean anything by my jokes. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that explains why I see that, no, when you make jokes, that doesn't necessarily mean that every single time you mean some truth to it. Because in my point of view, I don't. So maybe that's why I see it that way. So if somebody makes a joke, an ex joke that's horrible, and everyone would think, oh, this guy wanted to tell this to Nico. Maybe because if they made a joke like that, that's what they meant. But since I don't do that, I don't see it that way. It's like to me, it would be just a joke. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. All right. So this is what we say when it comes to perception and sensitivity. Like when we were growing up, and if someone wanted to tell jokes about your mom.
I don't take the mama jokes.
See now that strikes a nerve. For me, when I was younger, I didn't really get into that because there was certain untouchables. You don't talk about people's parents. You don't talk about people's their hardships. For the most part, you don't talk about growing up. You don't talk about disabilities. You don't talk about hardships. You don't talk about parents, and that's just kind of one of those situations. Now we live in a world where there's all kinds of sensitivities. As me now, the only person you can't joke with me about now is like you can't joke about my child, and you can't joke about like some of the hard experiences I went through. That's about it. But I think a lot of times now, this world is as sensitive. This world is as sensitive as everything now is your mom joke. It's a your mama joke. Or you're
like the standards got dropped to what a bad joke is.
Well, I don't know what a bad joke. I think people got super sensitive to the level of you're talking about my mom. When I'm talking about politics. You're talking about my mother. I'm talking about the LGBT community. You're talking about my mother. I'm talking about the environment. You're talking about my mother. There are so many people, they take direct offense. I'm talking about your weight. You're talking about my mother, but you're overweight. But you're talking about my mother. That's the same level of sensitivity, which is weird because I've seen people dad bash and man bash, and no one gets really offended at that. Or the variance between people bashing the military, or people who bash them, make jokes at the police, and the police get really angry. It's all those things. It's all those things like that. When things were a lot harder, we were a lot less sensitive. Now everyone's super sensitive because there's sensitivity. There's leverage that comes with being offended. There's a level of leverage. The cancel culture, and you've seen V for Vendetta when V was like he said poets use lies to tell the truth or something to that effect. We need comedy. We need jokes. We need to be able to say what we feel like saying, offensive or not, in a spin that'll make you think about it and be like, that's funny. You mean it. You do mean it. but you mean to present it in a way that people can understand and they can grasp it. You are being funny. Now, when people are not being funny is when they believe it as an ideology, not as a joke. When it's an ideology, it's a problem. Like you can make a racist joke and it'd be funny because you're looking at tropes, you're looking at stereotypes, you're looking at how they are silly in comparison to the greater scheme of the world. But then when you start living by those ideologies, those racist and biased ways to where like, you know, I treat people a certain way because of these tropes. It ain't funny. You know, it's not, it's a difference between I can laugh with you and I can laugh at you, but you can laugh at me too. You know, you can laugh with me and at me too. We live in a society where I wanna laugh at you, but I want to decide if you can laugh with me. And you better never laugh at me. A lot of people, that's how they are. A lot of people are like that. That's where they create a comfort zone. So that's why you'll get people like they don't like Dave Chappelle because they want to laugh at the jokes they want to laugh at. They want to laugh at who they want to laugh at. They want to allow who they want to laugh with them to laugh with them, but they don't want anyone to laugh at them.
The thing is, with jokes, lately when I hear a joke I don't like, I don't laugh at all. Or maybe it is a joke. Yeah, that one's not working.
No, I'm not looking at that. But I was about to ask you what type of joke offends you, but finish your point.
So when I hear a joke I don't like, there's jokes I don't like because it is about a sensitive subject, but I still think they're funny, so I laugh. I try not to, but I still laugh. I don't like. I mean, when I'm done laughing, I'll tell you, hey, I don't like that joke.
It's like a cringy
like, yeah, it's like I recognize like that what you said is funny as hell. It's just I don't like what it was about. That's it. Okay. So I mean, I can't help to laugh. So I mean, I laugh. You know, I laugh, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I know I still try to make it clear that I didn't like that joke. If we're in like in a group or something, and I didn't laugh, then I just don't laugh at all, and people understand that that joke was not okay. So either don't say it in front of me, or either don't say it, yeah, like I'm not cool with it. So don't say it in front of me, or say it when I'm not around, or when I can. I mean, I can't control what people talk about.
Yeah,
you can talk about whatever you want about me. Just if I'm there, like there should be some type of respect.
Yeah. Me.
So, what's your question?
I would say, what type of joke do you find that would make you find offensive?
I don't like mama jokes. That includes grandma. I don't like my brother's jokes. Someone I care about, like if I'm in a relationship with, I don't like jokes about that. I don't like jokes about my country, like stuff like that. Like things I really hold hard. Like I make God and religion jokes like all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. And those are the only ones I say. Because I think of way worse in my mind.
People get offended by that. I find so you know what. So all right. So say this. There's a difference between telling jokes and mocking someone, making fun of someone. And I think most people are against being mocked.
Mocking is still telling jokes. It's just a more advanced level. I think it's the same thing.
It's an aggressive attack on someone under the guise of joking and making others laugh, make people laugh at you. You know, it's different to try to incite people against you and make people hate you.
Yeah.
But mocking is I'm trying to make people belittle you and laugh at you for whatever reason. Like I said, I'm not one with the mama jokes. Now that I'm a father, I'm not one with this disrespectful dad jokes. Definitely the kids.
Oh, you can make the dad jokes all the damn time.
Yeah.
And I will laugh at them and probably join in.
Yeah. But like the kids, access to the disabled, like you can joke about people with disabilities, but don't mock people with disabilities. You know, don't mock.
What do you mean? What the difference? You mean like imitating them?
All right, you know, no, yeah, like all right, making a joke about you know, what do you call a one-legged stripper? Or I was like,
am I going to laugh at this and look like an a-hole?
I said it like I was like, now I said, where does a one-legged stripper work? At IHOP. I told that joke so wrong, man. It was like, and then, but there'll be people out there who get mad offended at that. They're like, oh my God, how dare you tell a joke about someone?
And they don't even know any disabled people.
But but the difference is it'd be different if I was talking to someone who was missing a leg, and I was like, "Where do you work? I bet you work at IHOP." I'm mocking that person. When you tell a joke about a larger group, if you say a joke,
mockery is how bullying starts.
Yeah, it's like if you tell a black joke, why Spanish people are like this, why black people like this, and you pull a trope, you pull out a stereotype. But if you start being just like, "Stigger, you black people, you start directing it. You're trying to mock individuals. It's different. It's different if somebody says, "Man, you would think they would have came out with a chicken and watermelon vaccine by now." People get offended by that, but it can be how it's delivered can be funny. But if you go to someone
and not everyone can tell that joke.
Yeah, not everybody can tell that joke. Not everybody can deliver that joke.
And you can't tell that to all audiences.
No, you cannot tell all audiences.
So it's jokes about sensitive topics. Of course, they can be told to a very, very small audience and a very specific audience too, man. Yeah, but don't play. Do not play.
It's mocking. When someone's going to mock individuals, and that's what a lot of people take out of context. They want a lot of comedians now get a lot of flack about the cancel culture because they're quick to say that you're mocking people. No, they're giving context and perspective about groups and circumstances and situations and what in those aspects. They're not specifically going out their way to mock people. Now, what I don't like, and the type of joking that I don't like mostly is sexist joking. Racist jokes about white and black and Spanish, whatever. Those are tropes. Those are characteristics. Well, what I don't like is I don't like people getting made fun of because of their gender. So when you get that really chauvinistic man that makes fun of women and says women are just objects, that's offensive to me. Because you're mocking women for being women, right? You can do the mannerisms like, "Oh, my wife this and my wife that's always nagging me" and stuff like the type of like a home improvement type of Jeff Foxworthy type of joking type stuff, the country joking. There's a limit, but there's people that go directly at belittling women in their jokes. Okay, I've seen just as many women try to belittle men in their jokes, try to say how inferior men are. That, especially with how the climate is right now, that for me, misogyny and misandry, those types of jokes, they usually get directed at people. They usually when you tell jokes
and they can offend a broader range of people.
When you try to tell jokes about different ethnic groups and different preferences and whatnot, you usually don't say they're trying to show that they're inferior. But when it comes to sexism a lot of times tries to say one of the other genders is inferior, not just weird mannerisms, not just common mannerisms, not just things that are common to what straights and gays or people from different backgrounds or people of certain religions. When you start mocking things that make men, especially when you have a certain expectation of men, or same thing with women, you don't have a certain expectation. There are characteristics that we associate with each other, but we don't have an expectation on Latinos. We don't have an expectation on blacks or Jews or whites. White's a little interesting, but we don't have a hard expectation that we then try to belittle. We just notice characteristics that are common. But women and men, there are certain gender expectations that we have. And that's one of the things that I was like, I don't get in those jokes, because those are some of the most cringeworthy jokes.
There's also jokes that you will laugh at, but you wouldn't tell. Like, for example, disabled people jokes. Or mentally disabled people jokes. I don't, those are a little bit like more for me. I don't make those jokes. I never make those jokes. But if you make that joke and it's good, I'm gonna laugh at it. But I'm not gonna make the joke.
And that's the thing. A lot of comedians say what other people won't say. George Carlin. Carlos Mencina used to do, and they would say what other people are willing to laugh at, but not take the heat for saying. Because do you want to really take the heat for that? Depending on your position and who you are.
But technically, if you tell a joke with the intent to make someone laugh, and I'm on the other end, I hear the joke and I laugh, that means I could also tell the joke. I'm just not brave enough to say it. But I can also be on that other end. I can tell the joke. Because we all think it's funny. Who says it is different. You don't even know if anyone also thought of that joke. They didn't say it, but they also thought it was funny. So if they thought of that joke and they were riffing off, they would have said it for sure.
Yeah, but it does go back to who are you to make that joke? You know, comedians are professionals. A good comedian is a professional.
They get paid for it.
Not only they get paid for it, but they learn how to read the room. They learn how to control the room.
Oh yeah,
control the conversation. You know, think about it. They get up there and they talk in a way that doesn't require dialogue, but there is a form of dialogue. They're getting response from the audience to keep going and to direct. Man, that's
and doing it live,
and then think about it, there's setups to where they're working their way all the way through a set, and they're going to come back to a joke at the end. So it's masterful. But again, Andrew Dice Clay, great comedian, really vulgar, really raunchy, and you look at it like, oh, okay, very offensive to a lot of people, but great comedian. It's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's just like you have to go in knowing that this is a joke, and he's a comedian or she's a comedian. You start getting offended about what they say, and it's an opinion or it's an observation of what's actually going on. You got to think about the other 7 billion people on the planet, and how many people think like him, and how many don't, how many are all, and who are you? What if you were to make that joke? What if you have jokes in yourself that would probably offend others?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, man. Draw
it's one of those things, man. Today is one of those nights. Let us know in the comments down below all the sexist jokes you have. Leave a like, already said comment, or comment anything else you want to. Subscribe to our channel, share it with all your friends, and yeah, peace. We'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you for making it to the end.
Yo.